let's turn our attention back to Kelis here, who was, what this article says, she was venting in anger. But I will say, I think she made very valid points, and I think she might be right here. So she says, I am an artist. So I am, as Erykah Badu said, I'm sensitive about my shit. The reality is that my real beef is not only with Beyonce, because at the end of the day, she sampled a record. She's copied me before. So have many other artists. It's fine. I don't care about that. So in this article, it also mentions that she found out about the sampling, the interpolation, whatever. We're going to say sampling. Screw all that. She found out about it the exact same time everybody else did, which she did state in the video. She did not know that it was a part because no one contacted her. And she feels like, as a legend, even though there's been a lot of shenanigans about who owns what and what she signed, she should have been given courtesy. She should have been given courtesy to say, hey, what's up? This Beyonce's people, whatever, hit me up. I want to let you know that I'm using a piece of your song. I want you to hear however those conversations usually go. And she goes on to say about Ashniko. So Kelis says, it's not hard. She can contact, right? Nodding. I'm sorry. It's not hard. She can contact, right? And then she notes, a 20-year-old singer, Ashniko, reached out when her 2021 song, Deal With It, came out. Sample called Out There, which is another great song by Kelis, by the way. Kelis goes to say, she's a young white girl. She reached out when she freaking like, it's just common decency. It's common decency, Kelis said. Especially because, as so many of you pointed out, I know what I own and what I don't own. I also know the lies that were told. I also know the things that were stolen. Publishing was stolen. People were swindled out of rights. It happens all the time, especially back then. So it's not about me being mad about Beyonce. Which she notes something. You got to understand what time period, which is why she noted that the little white girl, the girl was a little white girl. You got to understand when Kelis was signed. Kelis was signed, what was it, like the late 90s, early 2000s, correct? And in that time period, a lot of people, we talk about it to this day. Like, we learned about like shiesty record deals now. That was like, what, from 2010 to beyond, where we start hearing about all these different artists being signed to these different labels and how everybody's getting these 360 deals, and these 360 deals are more or less cheating people out of their livelihood. And Nori from Drink Champs, hip hop legend, by the way, did make, I can't remember exactly where he was on, but he was talking about how record labels upfront you a bunch of money for you to make an album, and there's still costs that you have to pay for. So where it may sound like you got like $1 million, you don't have $1 million, because there are recording fees and studio time and concerts that's got to be put on. Somebody's got to pay for these venues. Somebody's got to pay for these albums and the advertisement, and you get a $200,000-$300,000 check and you spend that up, and your album bomb, you still got to pay some of that money back. You got to pay, somebody got to get paid. You still have these things lined up that happen. You still have the recording fees and whatnot, et cetera, et cetera. So now, because you signed to them, you have to, drop another album. So now you got to drop 2 albums, And you gotta hope the second one do better than the first one did. Because if that one flopped, you already on the docket for 5 albums, right? Because you was hot in the streets. So now they signed you for 5. They upfronted you some money. Then when that one dropped, they gonna give you another chance. And they go upfront you some more money. And it's the same process. And you get caught in the loop. And then there was the 360 deals and a bunch of things like that. So if you put all of that in perspective, Kelis is from that same era where nobody read the contracts. You were trying to eat, you were trying to make it, you were hungry. Your art was all you had, and you had somebody giving you thousands and thousands of dollars to produce your art. You didn't think about who owned it, you didn't think about your masters or anything like that. And you didn't read a lot of the contracts. Hell, a lot of us didn't even know to read contracts. And think about it like this: when you got out of high school, what is the one thing you always say? What is the one thing you always say? I wish my school would have taught me banking. I wish my school would have taught me income tax. I wish my school would have taught me this and that and that and this, because they don't teach you these things. So you're from the hood, you're trying to make it, or wherever you're from. A lot of our parents didn't have all this information. It's not like your parents just sitting around the house with information about the record companies. Like, these are just things that wasn't talked about. So when you're 19, 20, sometimes younger than that, if you're not a child star, then they can be, younger than that. So here you are like, oh, I got an opportunity to make it. Here's my chance. Hell yeah, I'm going to sign on the dotted line. And for anybody to sit here and say, no, I'm going to think about, well, don't sign it first. You're a liar. You're a liar. If you were back in that time period, you would not be thinking about what you are signing, because you wouldn't have the knowledge to think about what you were signing. There was no Twitter. There was no Facebook. There was no YouTube with thousands and thousands of conspiracy videos where there are some truth in some of those. Like, you just didn't know that. When you seen Diddy, when you seen Jay, when you seen Ludacris, when you seen any of them, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, when you seen them, if you had a chance to ship them your mixtape, you was going to give them that mixtape and then hope you can be the next Eminem or the next 50 Cent. That just is what it is. Before Soulja Boy and Lupe came along, the internet wasn't a way to succeed. Before my man Tom gave us MySpace, a lot of us didn't know anything but AOL and Yahoo chat rooms. That was the extent of your knowledge of, and we didn't read none of the contracts there. We just signed up and was hoping for fun. But gotta go, man. Thank you guys for listening. Ice Spadez Gang. That's our show for today.
Did we miss anything? Let us know in the comments below or wherever you're listening to us.
Do us a favor and head over to www.thebkspadeshow.com. That's Spades with an E. You can get all the blogs, the audio, the video, and some really cool merch.
And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave us that 5-star rating, and YouTube. Like, comment, share, and subscribe
to the BK Spadez Show, where society meets pop culture. I am your host, the BK Spadez, here with my very lovely co-host,
Novacaine, baby.
Ice Spadez Gang. Thanks for tuning in.